there is only one person that deserves full attention from us for the next few minutes, and that, of course, is Jayden Danns. Now, I obviously asked the Discord heading into this who their man of the match shouts were, and you won't be surprised to hear that predominantly the name Danns, or a different variation of that, has headed in. So Josh Hall with Jayden Danns, Cop BHK 17, Danns, Barry 4K, it's got to be Danzy, Symes, Danns or Clark for him. There's been some more as well. Let me just scroll down quickly. Hitchin Bars, my vote is for Danns. Looks so mature for a teenager. Definitely a name we'll hear more often in the future. Dan says Danns. There's a lot of Danns there. Howdy, it's David says Danns. It has to be. There was one more. No. Okay, that was it. Jayden Danns. Like, unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. And a couple of people mentioned there just the maturity with which he's shown, not just tonight, but in his cameos today as well. But he just, I said it in the IMR, he's just a real goal threat, and he's come close to doing what he's done tonight, even before, but he just looks the business. Like, what he does so well is he feels like he's always within the width for the post. Strikers talk about that a lot, don't they? Yeah. But he is that. He absolutely is that, and he's in and around it all the time. Even the goal we scored against Luton, Harvey Elliott ended up scoring it. But I was sort of more interested and more intrigued by the fact that Jayden Danns was running onto it, and he'd have been thinking, this is it, this is my life, done. And he was the guy about to strike it, and then Harvey Elliott nips in. It's a wonderful finish. You take nothing away from Harvey Elliott, but what we've seen there with Danns is that anticipation, and we've seen it again tonight. But talk about the goals, because the first one is honestly ludicrous. Like, to have the, can I say bollocks? To have the bollocks definitely to pull that off in front of the cop is just, it's mind-boggling, quite frankly.
You've took the word right out my mouth. To have the bollocks to do that cop end on, I can't even speak about it, to be honest.
It's mental.
It gives you goosebumps as well thinking about it, because, you know, we've all wanted to do that. And so many strikers have come to Liverpool and just haven't had the bottle to be able to do that. And he's come in, slid into the team, another player that doesn't look out of place, finishing like that.
No, absolutely. No, 100%, mate. It's and the beauty of it is, like, listen, the first goal is right at the top drawer. It really is. Like, it's the run is something, and the little glance up to see the keeper's coming. When as soon as he knows he has, he then executes it. To have the ambition and the confidence of which to pull it off is one thing, but then the execution is another. We spoke a lot about Darwin Núñez's chip the other week, and different. Darwin Núñez is probably slightly more
very Cody Gakpo.
Yeah, United. It is. United goal. Yeah, absolutely it is. Yeah, that little dink from that angle as well. It's very similar. Yeah, very similar. But again, 18 years old, his third Liverpool appearance. It's daft. It's daft what he's doing. He's showing maturity way beyond his years. And it's interesting because he obviously started out in the under-18s this year. He can still play for the under-18s, by the way. But he's made the step up to 21s quite recently and done that seamlessly. And now he's done this seamlessly. And obviously he spoke after the game, said, my dream come true. And you just got to be absolutely over the moon for these lads. But again, you said it earlier, they don't look at a place. And that was the definition of not looking at a place that tonight, because the goal is one thing, the quality, and he's obviously physical enough, he can handle himself, you can see that he's big enough, he's strong enough, he's quick enough, and above all he's got the quality as well. But it's the mindset for me. We spoke about his first goal just there, but the second one, in a way, and it's slightly odd, but it's even more impressive, albeit ultimately it's an open goal that he fires into essentially. But to have the presence of mind and the anticipation, and the reason he scores that goal is because the defender's on his heels. He doesn't think there's going to be a striker sniffing around him, getting in front of him. So the defender thinks, okay, I can just deal with this when it gets to me. Jayden Danns like, no, you can't, mate. You can't wait, because I'm going to be on it. So that, for me, we speak a lot about strikers' instincts and all that sort of stuff. He's got that.
Yeah, you mentioned before that he's always in between the two posts. Yeah. And for any striker to be in between the two posts, they're always going to be around a goal, they're always going to be bagging goals. But to do it at this level, what he's doing at that is just ridiculous. Now, I've watched them for the under-18s, you mentioned the 21s as well. He's bagging goals for fun. It's scary. It's very scary.
Different types of goals as well.
Very different. Tonight, totally different goals. The first one, unbelievable finish, but the run off the shoulder was what really impressive. The ball by Elliott, fantastic. But then, like you said, to have the balls to dink him, daft. Yeah. But then the second one, you can't teach that. You've either got that or you haven't.
You're right. Yeah.
You know, not only the hunger to get to the ball before the defender, but to be in that position.
To be switched on enough to go.
You're in the position there, and he's going to forever score goals, no matter what level it is. I hope it's at Liverpool, of course I do. But he's got it. He's definitely got it. So
it's exciting, man. It's interesting because also we've spoken a lot about this in recent weeks on different shows, because when you see an exciting young striker, your mind instantly harks back to good and bad in that instance, because there's been loads. So the polar opposites. You got Michael Owens, Robbie Fowler, two others that I won't mention because that's just not fair. But Liverpool have had the fair share of both of those. Let's put it that way. But with someone like Jayden Danns, you think, okay, boxes wise, tick, 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 and then what's so exciting is that he ticks all of them for me. And one of the big ones that he ticks, this sounds a bit daft, but he's an aerial threat as well.
Yeah.
And I think that one can go a little bit under the radar and be a bit underrated, because how many strikers you see come through who are good, very technical, very quick, etc., 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 but they might not be big enough or physical enough to actually handle it. And I know this is Premier League, it's not League Two or the National League, but you need to have a little bit of that about you. And he can. You can mix it a little bit as well. So there's real cause for optimism that, based on what we've seen, albeit only a very small sample size, albeit he's been doing brilliantly in the youth side, as you say, he could well be. I'm so reticent to use terms like this because he's so young, but he could well be the real deal.
I think he's proven that he is. That's what you've got to look at it like this. Obviously, we're very early days in his senior career, but from what he's done so far, you can't fault him. He's a striker to come off the bench and have an impact the way he has tonight, and to get man of the match, by the way, to score 2 goals, to kill a tie-off. I mean,
how much did he love it as well?
It's amazing, and even the interview after it, seeing a scouser doing well, it's what we all dream about, isn't it? And we'll have our backing every single minute that he's on that pitch, and then Russell Martin looks absolutely depleted by Jayden Danns and Liverpool tonight. But yeah, it's all about him tonight, and he deserves every bit of credit that's going to come his way. Hopefully, we will keep him grounded because we've got the right people at the club, and we keep easing him in. But he definitely deserves to be knocking on the door to say, what more do you want me to do? Yeah,
ultimately, you're right. He's in and around it now, isn't he? Obviously going to be without Diogo Jota, unfortunately, for a while. So there is, if Liverpool want to proceed with 5 forward options, you'd have to say, don't get me wrong, Koumas is in this conversation, Kate Gordon's in this conversation, of course, but it feels like Jayden Danns might be leading that race now. And again, it boils down to that additional physicality. In Diogo Jota, we've lost that centre-forward one. Jayden Danns is very much that centre-forward one. So, it's interesting. It wouldn't shock me and it wouldn't upset me whatsoever if we've seen quite a bit more of Jayden Danns between now and the end of the season. And that is testament to how good he is. And I said on the podcast the other day that it'd be interesting to see in the summer how many clubs are sniffing around him for loans. I'm sure they will be, regardless.
They were in January.
Exactly, and I'm sure it'll happen again. But I just wonder now, again, there's more to be seen yet, and there's hopefully more to come. Right now, if I was Liverpool, I'd be saying no. You know what I mean? No, he's ours. He's going to stick here, and we're going to nurture him. We're going to develop him because it's done all right so far. Sound? We haven't numbered him. After all that, I always do this, by the way. Always give it the big sell and never number the big player.
7.
No. What are we going to give?
I'm going to go 10. And I'm going 10. I would have went 9 to leave a little bit of a taste in our mouth to get to 10. I like doing that. But I'm going to go with 10 just because of the pure impact. The different types of finishes, the man of the match performance, scoring at the cop end. He's done everything he could have tonight.
As much as I agree with everything you've just said,
you're not going to.
I'm not going to. I'm going 9. And simply because, 2 reasons. Didn't get a hat-trick.
And always wants more, this guy. And
second, you've said it there, keep him grounded. And if he is watching this, or if Neil, his dad is watching this, then we're keeping him grounded with a 9, all right? Sound.